Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch and Learn right here on the Yarnspirations Facebook page, the Marley Bird Facebook page, and the Marley Bird YouTube channel. We are so happy to have you joining us here today because did you know it is Worldwide Knit in Public Day coming up? And don't be fooled. Like, we're by Crafty over here at marleybird.com and Yarnspirations, right? So we know that you're going to be out there crocheting too, but part of the fun is that when you get a chance to leave our little houses where we're working on our projects and go out in public and let the world see the amazingness that is knitting and crochet, what are some things we like to bring? What are good projects to work on? So my friends over at Yarnspirations were like, Marley, you are always on the go. You always have your knitting with you, your crochet with you. Can you come and just let everybody know what you think some of your favorites are? What are some great projects? And I was like, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. So here I am. I'm doing that. Hello, everybody. If you don't know who I am, my name is Marley Bird. I am one of the Stitch ambassadors over here at Yarnspirations, and I am the host of the Marley Bird YouTube channel. And of course, we have the Marley Bird House and marleybird.com, like all Marley Bird all the time. I am a knitwear and crochet designer, and I love working with yarn. Like, I love it. It's all about the yarn for me. I just love yarn. I've been with Yarnspirations. Prior to Yarnspirations, I was with Red Heart for several years. I think I'm going on my year 8 or 9. I can't remember. But it's been a wonderful relationship. And so I was very excited to come and chat with all of you today. So because I know you don't just want to sit here and listen to me talk the whole time, I talked with Yarnspirations and we decided that the most perfect pattern for all of this was for us to talk about the on-the-go shawl. So this is the on-the-go shawl. Let me see if I can make sure my mic is out of the way too. This right here, I have put a pattern. I put a link to this pattern in the video description box. Wherever you are, you can find the link. I've also added it to the comments. But this is the on-the-go knit shawl. And you might be thinking to yourself, Marley, that does not look like it would be on the go. It looks like it's pretty complex, right? Because it has some lace stitches. Obviously, you're working some increases. You're doing some bind offs. Like what the heck? Well, let me just tell you, this is really quite easy. It's not super difficult. And if you don't want to do the lace portion, you could absolutely just keep everything in garter stitch and it's going to look great. So that makes this like the perfect on the go. Now, the yarn that we used for this shawl is actually Red Heart Super Saver Stripes, but we all know that the Granny Square yarn is so incredibly popular right now, right? So I have that right here, the Granny all-in-one square, right? Which is in and of itself, it is a striping, pooling type yarn. I was like, you know what? I wonder what this would look like worked up in this pattern. Let's try it for something different, right? We don't have to use it for a granny square. So I was like, I'm going to pull that out and we're going to use that and swatch up today. So we're going to see kind of how this pops up because we're going to have, different bits of colors in different places. And I thought it'd be really cool. And it's another way for you guys to use this yarn, especially you knitters who aren't crocheters who are like, oh, I can't get the yarn. I can't crochet. Well, this could be a great way for you to do it. So, as I mentioned, this is a free pattern over at Yarnspirations. Did you guys know they have like tens of thousands of free patterns? Like they have so many patterns. The link is in the video description box. So let's grab that. And that's going to lead me to the very first part of all of this that I want to talk about in what makes a really good on-the-go project. Well, I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments. So please leave a comment. Let us know what you think, what makes a good on-the-go project. For me, it's usually a project that I can memorize the stitch pattern because I don't want to have to keep looking at my pattern to figure out what I'm supposed to do. I want to be able to memorize the stitch pattern. Believe it or not, you guys, for me, that usually constitutes socks because I can knit a pair of socks based on memory because it's more of a recipe for me. And so having socks in my go bag is one of the number one things I have. The other thing is a hat because I know exactly how many stitches work up great on what size needles for my head. I know how to work the decreases, and then I can put in any sort of stitch pattern I want in there. So socks and hats are usually my go-to. because I don't have to look at a pattern all the time to know what they are. And I would guess that a lot of you would also say that for your go-to patterns, it's usually something garter stitch because you don't have to think about purling. It's always just knitting, right? Maybe with a little bit of shaping, whatever it is you're doing. But garter stitch tends to be a really good go-to project for people. Cindy is saying that coasters and bottle cozies are some of her favorite pieces. And I'm guessing for that, it's because they're small, Cindy. Like, you don't want something that's going to be super huge as you're out in public, right? Like, you're not going to want a huge king size blanket that you might be working on. Trust me, I've been there. I've done that. A king size blanket with single crochets, you guys. And I was out in public. Like, it was like I was in an ocean of fabric all over the place, right? Wasn't the most wise choice I've ever made, but I was also a new crocheter when I was doing it. So I've gotten much more intelligent along the way. My friend Lindsay Martin from Erin Lane Bags, she is saying that hats are her go-to. And I know that for a fact because I have been at yarn events with her when she's in her booth selling her bags. And she usually has her, her circulars, and she has some yarn on it, and she's just working up a hat pattern because, again, she knows how many stitches work up in what yarn with what size needle, and she can make it stockinette. She can add some lace. She can add some ribbing. She just doesn't have to think about it. And so it becomes mindless knitting. So I absolutely know that she has that usually in her twofer bag hanging off of her hip with, knitting along. Which leads me actually to the second part. Like when I'm on the go, I want to make sure I have a project bag that works great for me. I know that there are people who love Ziploc bags. I love to have project bags with the drawstring that the yarn doesn't come out. So I love Erin Lane bags. I love canvas bags that you can get. Have you guys seen the new bog bags? Like it's like a big, sort of like a crock, but it's like a bog bag. I love those. I love anything that I can have my stuff all together, like the yarn, the stitch markers, the needles, everything all together in one place in a project bag. And so I always have that. That also leads me to the accessory part. So I always have a little tin. I'm going to show you guys something funny. So these actually have mints in them, but when my mints are all gone, this is a great tool to put all of your stitch markers in, because you can just pop it open and grab a stitch marker, and it's just pop it into your knitting or crochet bag, and it's perfect. So if you eat these kind of mints, save the container. You can use them for stitch markers. You can put your darning needle in there, and it doesn't have to be like a really big item that you're just putting your little bits in there, right? I no longer, here's something for you. I no longer have to bring my tape measure because on my phone, I don't know where my phone is, there's a measuring tool on the phone that works pretty good. So I can use that on my phone and it works pretty great. So those are the little things I make sure I have with me. Scissors, if you guys know anything about me, I always have scissors with me if I'm trying to, I usually have a smaller set than these, but I usually get kid scissors, like kids school scissors, and I have those in every project bag I have, every project bag. Gail is saying that she loves the measure on her phone. I use it all the time, Gail. I use it for my knitting and crochet, and I use it for track and field. Like when my son's out there throwing, I will click the mark at the front of the ring, and then I'll walk to where he threw to see what the measurement is, because it's exciting. Side note, you guys, he won the discus at the Indiana State track meet for high school state track meet on Saturday. So yay, congratulations, Josiah. He did a great job. Anyways, so those are my go-to projects, go-to items that I have to have with me when I'm in public, because it just makes life so much easier. If you don't have scissors with you, nail clippers actually work really well. If you need to have something there, they're really good. But yeah, I would love to hear what else you guys love to bring on the go. All right, so we've talked about 10 minutes about stuff. Why don't we jump in and let's dive into this shawl pattern, because I love making this shape of a shawl. It's a combination of like this jagged edge and a really nice shaping along one side. So you get a cool, like, I wouldn't call it a 90-degree angle. Like it's a triangle shawl, but you get some dimension to it and it's a lot of fun to do. So I'm going to jump down to my hands. Hopefully you guys can see everything down here. As I said, you guys, this pattern is available over at Yarnspirations, and it's a one-page pattern. So if you happen to forget your instructions, you don't have a whole bunch that you have to have with you. It's just one page. And we start off with it really super small. It's just 2 stitches, okay? Now, because it is a shawl, I am not going to worry about gauge. I'm just going to grab some needles here. They suggest size 8s. I think I'm using size 8s. And I'm just going to get started. Now, I do prefer circular needles, and you'll see that they say circular needles because even though we're starting at this really teeny point right here, eventually it gets wider and wider and wider. So you want to have space for the stitches on your needles, okay? If you have some sort of interchangeable needles, you can always change the length of your cord, and that's really helpful as well. Okay, so we just need 2 stitches. You can use any type of cast on you want. I just did a long tail cast on. You could literally use any cast on you want. It really doesn't matter. And we're going to jump in, y'all. So I'm going to move the instructions so that way we can see a little bit here. I'm trying to figure out which way is the best. Let me just put them up there so that we all have them. And I'll put this here. Can everybody see? Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you can see. All right, so I've cast on 2 stitches, and we're going to do what's called a knit front and back. So into this first stitch, we're going to knit into the front of the stitch. So you put your needle in, yarn over, and pop out, but don't let that stitch fall off your left-hand needle yet. We're now going to swivel our right-hand needle around, go into that stitch from the back, yarn over, and pop out the back. So now I have 2 stitches on my right hand needle, 1 stitch over here that I've worked into on my left. So now I let that stitch jump off. Now I'm going to knit 1 extra stitch right here, and I have 3 stitches. Notice that this also tells you this is the right side of your work. So I am going to grab just a little simple little marker here, if I can get a hold of it. Okay, just a little marker, and I'm just going to put this right here on this side of my fabric. And literally, it's just a big like visual cue to me to be like, hey, if you see that marker, you're on the right side. Okay, turn my work, and we're on row 2. So row 2, we're going to knit 2 stitches. So knit 1 and knit 2. And you'll see it says knit front and back. So we will end up always increasing down here along this edge of the piece. So we're going to do our knit front and back again. Go into the front of the stitch and knit, swivel around, go into the back leg of that same stitch and knit. And then off. So now I have 4 stitches. Okay, we're going to keep working these increases just like this. As I'm working along, if you're working along with me or if you're just watching, why don't you give us some more tips? What are some things that you like to make sure is in your on-the-go bag for your knitting and crochet? Because I absolutely keep one in my car. Like I always have a go bag in my car for knitting and crochet. So I start off with my knit front and back for row 3, and then I knit 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Hello from Kentucky. Hi, Karen. How are you doing? So many names here that I recognize. Hi, Jamie and Julia and Halloween Mischief and Carrie and Luz and Indy Pharma Girl. All right, so I am on the 4th row, and it says all alternate rows. So that would be all of my wrong side rows. I'm going to knit to the last stitch and then knit front and back. Remember I said we're going to just keep increasing over here along this edge. So all of my wrong side rows, I will knit to the last stitch. Ooh, Lindsay, that is a great suggestion here. Let me get my knit front and back here, and I will say that out loud. So Lindsay suggests that she has dental floss for a lifeline or a provisional cast on should she ever need it. That's a great idea. Or if you're eating popcorn and you get a kernel stuck in your in your mouth. Just me? Nobody else? Just me? Okay, so I've turned my work. I'm on row 5, and I'm going to knit front and back and then knit to the end, right? So knit front and back of that first stitch and then knit to the end. So you notice we are increasing every single row, but it's always on that same edge, okay? So if you wanted to, if you're somebody like me that loves stitch markers, you could even grab another stitch marker. Let me find a fun one here. You could grab another just fun stitch marker and you could just mark that edge, that like just that edge over there, just so that you could now have a clue of, oh, anytime I'm down here at this edge, I know I'm going to be working an increase, right? So that you don't accidentally increase over here, right? Visual cues, you guys, they are lifesavers. All right, turning my work. And remember, we're on the wrong side here. So I'm going to knit to the last stitch and do a knit front and back. As I said, I really like this particular shawl shape. I think it looks really good. All right, so row 7, a lot of the same, right? A lot of the same. We're going to knit front and back on that first one. Again, I've just put that marker down there, so that's my visual clue. And then I'll knit to the end, or my instructions actually say knit 7, but it's the same thing. I'm going to knit to the end here. Turn my work. We're on the wrong side, so we know what that means. Knit down to the last stitch. Right down here. Yarnspirations is asking in the chat, they want to know, what is your go-to pattern for on the go? I already told you guys mine. Mine are hats and socks. Like those are big time things for me. Oh, look, we're already switching to that next color. That, guys, seriously, when you're working with any sort of a striping yarn or this granny square yarn, like when you get to that next color, it's so exciting. All right, so I've turned my work. I already forgot where I was, right? So that's where, oh, I'm on a right side. Great. I can see I have my marker down here. Great. I know I'm going to increase down here. So those markers already came in handy for me as I easily get distracted. And now I think I knit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. This is where the fun starts, y'all. Okay. We are going to cast off or bind off 6 stitches. Okay. And we'll have 1 stitch left on the right hand needle when all is done. And then we immediately jump into that lace pattern. Now, I do want to mention once again, if you are in the social setting, you're like, I cannot keep up with a lace pattern. I just don't think this is for me. I'm going to let you know right now, you could just keep everything in garter stitch. You don't have to do the lace and you'll have a really good looking shawl. All right. So I'm going to show you the lace, but if you wanted to keep it in garter stitch, you absolutely could do that. Okay. So let's go back over here. So I'm going to turn my work. We want to this is the 10th row. All right, so this is the 10th row. So we're on the wrong side. We're going to cast off 6. So we're going to bind off 6. So I knit 2 stitches, have the back jump the front. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I cast off 6 stitches. I'm left with 1 stitch on my right hand needle. Now it tells me to knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, and repeat to the last stitch, which will be right there, which will be knit front and back. Okay. So I knit 1. Then my repeat, that's where the star is. My repeat is yarn over my right hand needle, then knit 2 together. And then I'm going to do a knit front and back because I'm at the end of my row. Okay. All of these down here, that becomes that jagged edge. Okay. So I turn my work. I'm on the 11th row. So I knit front and back right down here, right? There's my marker. So I knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, if you have never knit into a yarn over before, you're absolutely going to get a hole. That's the whole point of the yarn over. Okay. All right. I'm going to answer some of your questions here while I just let you guys kind of catch up a little bit. So it looks like Elena says, hi from England. Usually keep a project bag next to my bed for when I can't sleep. Me too. Me too. And I have an aught light that sits next to my bed that I can position so that it kind of points down so it doesn't go into my husband's eyes. And I have one of those neck lights. Do you guys have those neck lights? They're amazing. So I have that as well. Lindsay says she's going to do that now. Jacqueline, hi, Jackie. Jackie says mindless like socks are my go-to for on-the-go knitting. I absolutely agree with that. Halloween mischief. I've been working on a crochet blanket for my brother's birthday, and watching you knit makes me ache to knit. It's been weeks, man. I completely understand that. Like the struggle is absolutely real. I promise you. Lori is asking what yarn I'm using. I'm using the Red Heart Granny Square yarn to get this look. I just want to see what it would look like worked up in this stitch pattern. Darlene says that, let's see, Darlene says, I have a favorite baby hat that I knit. And it has easy lace. Lace, you guys, can be super easy. Or a plain ribbed hat that I don't have to concentrate that much. I understand that so much. Lisa, she says, my go-to project, they're socks. I've started knitting socks on 9mm in November, and I'm up to my 6th pair. Lisa, congratulations. My hard time with socks when I'm knitting them is I get super addicted, which sounds like you do too, and I can't put them down. So socks tend to be my reward project after I finish a big project like this sweater. I'm like, oh, I need to go knit a pair of socks because that's my reward for finishing another project. Jamie, this is a great idea. Might go to our washcloths, and they're simple in case of interruptions. Washcloths are great, you guys, because you could stack those up and store those away. And when it comes time for the holidays, maybe you have somebody who randomly gives you a gift that you're not ready. You didn't know they were going to give you a gift. You're like, oh, I got something for you too. If you get yourself some really nice, like artisan soap or something, you could wrap up the soap and the washcloth and give that as a really great gift. It's a really good gift idea. Lori, she says shawls, scarves, and washcloths, baby blankets, hat. Lori, it just seems like you like everything. Lori, it's everything. Lori's like, I just all of it. I want all of it. I love it. Julie says I missed a knit front and back. Did I? Where did I miss it, Julie? Well, if I did, it's all right. We're going to just keep going. I don't know where I missed it. They do have, you all have neck lights. All right, good. See, it's hard sometimes to talk and knit at the same time. So if I missed a knit front and back, did I miss it down here? I did. Let's go back down there. So I'm going to just tink. So you guys can see the tinking there. So I'm just tinking back. Yep, I missed it down here, right? Yep, that one. All right, so I'm tinking back, putting this back on my needle. Thank you, Julia. So I put it back on here, the right side. So I'll knit the front and then knit the back. There we go. And then knit across. Woo! Struggle is real, you guys. Struggle is real. All right, here we go. Now we're back. So now I'm going to turn. I'm on row 12, if you guys are following along here. So this, I'm going back. So if our increases are over here where our plant is, right? Like I got this little thing on with a magazine or something. So now we're back down here, and this is where our lace is going to happen. And we're going to repeat down to the last 2 stitches, and we'll do a yarn over and knit 2. All right, so let's follow along. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together. And then it says repeat that to the last 2 stitches. So I have to do it again. So the star is before the yarn over. So I yarn over and I knit 2 together. So I'm to the 2 stitches. So now it tells me to yarn over and just knit 2. So knit 1, knit 2. Okay. All right. I'm guessing that they had me do the knit 2 because I could do a knit 2 together, but then I wouldn't have a stitch to do a knit front and back. And just by knitting 2, I think it leaves me with what I want. I'm not sure. I don't know, but that's where we are. Okay. So I'm turning. We're on row 13, which would be a repeat of row 11. So down here, I'm going to knit front and back. And then knit to the end. When you come to your yarn over, you just knit it. Turn my work. So I'm on row 14. We will knit 2. So knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together. Yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. I'm down to my last stitch where I do a knit front and back. Turn my work. Now it's at this point, as things keep going along, I would actually move this up so that I don't forget about it, like I did. Julia, thank you so much for reminding me. And I turn my work. So now I'm on row 15. Again, that's a repeat of 11 right down here. So we're going to knit front and back here at the start and knit to the end. Turn my work. We're on row 16. And it says 16 through the 20th rows, we do the same as row 12. Ooh, okay. So I'm going to give you guys a tip here. For me, I will never remember that. So what I would do, where's my pen? So let's see here. So it said 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it said 16 through and the 16 and 20th rows are as 12. So 16, so 12, 12, 18 and 22nd are as 14. So this is 14. And remember, these are 11. And then 23rd as 11th. And then it says repeat 10th to 23rd rows until you just keep going with that. So for me, I would actually go back to 10 and write 10 through 23. And I would put all of the numbers over here so that I know what row I'm following until I can get used to the pattern, right? So we're just going to go back and forth between 12 and 14. And on the wrong side rows, just keep doing what we're doing. Does that make sense? So if you get stuck on things like I do, like that's how I would go about it. If that works for all of you. Anybody else do that? Thank you so much, Angela. I love my top 2. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so we're back to row 12. So we knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. I'm to my last 2 stitches, so I yarn over and I just knit 2. Okay. Turn my work. This would be row 11. Again, because it's row 17, but it's row 11. So I knit front and back on this first one. And knit. Keep going here. Julia says that she does the same thing I do. She will write the repeats on the back of a pattern. You know, sometimes, I mean, you guys have followed me for a while. You know that I actually create spreadsheets to make it easy for myself to just tick off whatever row I'm on. Just makes things so much easier. So I'm turning and I'm on row 18, which is row 14. So I knit 2, knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over. You guys can see how this becomes pretty rhythmic. But if you forget a yarn over or a knit 2 together or a knit front and back, it can get off pretty easily. Yarn over, knit 2 together, and then knit front and back. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this. Rotate my work. So I'm on row 11, which would be row 19. So knit front and back. And then keep going. Good afternoon from New York. I love New York. So many people here saying hello. Shauna Morgan says her go-to has been hats, but she's learning socks in the round and the heel has me stuck. Are you doing toe up or top down, Shauna? Because I have both really great video tutorials here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel you could check out. Sorry, I was reading and it's you guys need to see this. Do you know how hard it is to knit 2x2 ribbing while watching you knit this pattern? Yes, I do. Do you know how hard it is to knit this pattern and talk at the same time? Because it is. All right, so I've turned my work and I think I'm on, let's see, I should be on row 20, correct? Yeah, I'm on row 20. So I knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, and then I keep going. Let me get some yarn here. Oh, we're going to get a new color. Oh, that's so exciting. I love that. All right, so I did a yarn over, knit 2 together, 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 yarn over, knit 1, knit 2. All right, turn my work. All righty, let's see here. Knit front and back. And then knit to the end. I mean, you guys can see here, it's basically lace with garter stitch. So if you didn't want to do that lace, you literally could just, yeah, Darlene, did I not? No. Darlene, on that last row, it's a repeat of row 12. So row 12 has you end with knit 2. Oh, this is funny. I love it if you guys are doing lunch and learn with me and you're working on projects. But this is funny. Lisa says that she had to stop knitting her lace top because she was yarning over whenever I said to yarn over. That's funny. Okay, Alana, is it Alana or Elena? Either way, I seem to be making a lot of cowls lately, sometimes matching hats. I love making cowls. Those are so fun to make. All right, I've turned my work and I'm increasing down there. So I'm on row 14, right? So this is row 22. Yeah. So I knit 2, knit 1, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together. All right, here we go. Just do this all the way down. I'll try not to tell you guys what to do so I don't mess you up in your own work. Julia says that she had to stop working on her project too. Sorry, guys. Tina says row 10 is different in the pattern than what you showed. Are you sure? Says that's what I did. Row 10, it says cast off 9. I did exactly what was written. I'm not sure which pattern. Okay, so I'm going to have a red heart jump in and help. So row 10 is different on the pattern than what you showed. The written pattern says to bind off 4. My pattern says bind off 6. So I'm not sure where you get the 4. I'm not sure where you're looking at that. Mine says 6. And I printed this off this morning from the website. So I'm not sure. But I definitely have 6 here. Where am I? Yarn over, knit two together, yarn over, knit two together, yarn over, knit two together. Yarnspirations just said they're going to go check that. All right, Candy, Yarnspirations just left a note on the Facebook comments, and they said they're going to go check the pattern to make sure what the website says. I really did just print this off from the website today, like just before we went live. Yarn over, knit two together, and then knit front and back on this one because it's a row 14. Turn my work. All right, so was that 22? I think it was. So this is 23. So I do row 11 again. So I knit front and back, knit front and back, knit to the end. So row 11 is a right side. This is something that's confusing to me. I don't know if anybody else has put this together. So on row 10, right? Because if row 1 is a right side, row 10 was a wrong side that we were casting off. So, and then we just worked down, we just finished row 11, which is a right side. Oh no, never mind. Woo! All right. So clearly I need more coffee. Everything's fine. What I was about to say actually isn't true. So we're good. Everything's good. I am going to take a drink of coffee really quick. Okay, Tina. So real quickly, Yarnspirations is saying that the PDF from the website says to cast off 6 on row 10. But Yarnspirations, real quick, Tina says that the Yarnspirations site says 4. So I'm not sure, Tina, I'm not sure where you're getting that. So if you can, let me see. I have a link right here. Let's see. I'm going to put a link. That link right there takes you to the website, which I'm sure you're already there. And that's literally, I clicked download from the website there, and that's where I got my pattern today. So hopefully that will give you a hand. All right. So this is going to be our first repeat of doing another like binding off stitches and then jumping in again. So let's do that together because that can be a little tricky. But here's another idea. If you wanted to have like one of your little segments here in the lace bit, and then maybe the next segment you want it to be in garter stitch, you could do that. The only thing is, you want to make sure that you're keeping those increases at the edge where we do the increases. So if you change it to garter stitch, did you see on row 12 where we end with the 2 knits? You end with the 2 knits because we didn't end up doing a decrease and then doing an addition. So you actually are increasing because we did that yarn over instead of a knit front and back. Does that make sense? We did the yarn over and then we did knit 2. So we actually did increase, just not with a knit front and back. So you will want to just keep going, just like we did with this part down here. You'll want to just keep doing where you're always increasing at the edge where you have, you know, your little stitch marker with the plant on it. You want to keep that increasing down there. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Coffee is always the solution. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So here we go. So it's at this point. So I just did row 23. So I'm back to row 10. So I'm on a wrong side, which is what row 10 was. Let me get some yarn here. We're to a new color. How fun is that? And we're going to bind off 6. So bind off 1, 2, and then jump. So that was 1, and there's 2, and there's 3, and there's 4, and there's 5, and there's 6. So we have 1 stitch left on our right hand needle. And now we jump into the pattern. So we will knit 1 and then yarn over, knit together, which if you guys pay attention, so it's like we've just done a knit 2. So it's like we're just repeating a row 14, right? So we've knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, yarn over, knit 2 together, and we finish with the knit front and back. All right, so this is very much a row 14, but we bound off stitches here so we can get that jagged look. Okay, and now we just go through everything again. We repeat everything. So I turn my work. So this would be a row 11. Again, I'm going to move up my little increase stitch marker for myself to be able to see so I don't forget. There we go. And we keep going. All right, so here's a question. What weight yarn do you like to work with on the go? Like, even though really big, bulky yarn is, relatively easy to work with, it's not really an on the go yarn because it is big and bulky unless you have a large container to hold it in, right? What is your go-to weight of yarn? And bonus points if you have actual, like a name of yarn that's your go-to yarn. I'm just curious what you guys think out there. Because I know that I have my go-to weight is a worsted or a DK. Well, that's not really true because if I'm working on socks, I have sock yarn. So who was it earlier? Was it Lisa that was telling me she likes all the things? Was that who it was? Was it Lisa? So I'm going to be the exact same way. I guess I don't have any particular yarn that I like, except I don't bring thick yarn. I tend to not bring thick yarn. All right, so this is row 12. So knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, which makes sense. If the last row was row 14, this makes sense, right? Which it was a version of row 14. The row 10 is a version of row 14 with those decreases. And don't forget on this row, the increase we're doing is actually with that yarn over instead of the knit 2 together. So like right here, I mean, not knit together, the knit front and back. Right here, right, we could knit 1, knit front and back. It would throw things off. So to keep the lace going, you yarn over, that's our increase. And because we don't have a knit 2 together, that increase remains an increase. So then we just knit 2, knit 1, knit 2. We could forget that yarn over there and just do knit 1 and knit front and back down there. Like we could have done that, but then the lace wouldn't go all the way down. We'd have a section where there's like some blankness. So that's why that is there like that. Hopefully did that make sense? Hopefully that made sense. Oh, you guys are just like me. You're all over the board. 4-ply, fingering, sport. She likes the thinner stuff. Bobby says that they are loving this pattern. Let's see. Other people like worsted and DK. Some people like a light size 3 or a sport weight. Bobby says that they love shiny yarn. I do too. There's something about it. All right. Again, guys, this stitch marker is so helpful because I was like, all right, where am I? So I saw my stitch marker. I knew immediately that I was working my increase down here. And I'm on my right side, which lets me know that I'm on a row 11. So knit front and back, and then just knit to the end. So if you ever get lost, just remember, if you're working on a row that already has yarn overs on it, that means you've already done like a row 12 or a row 14. So you're on a row 11. Okay. And you just keep going in this way. All right. How many of you are loving the way the granny square yarn worked up with this? Because I'm loving it. I think it's cool. I think what's going to be really great is when you get to the bigger sections, you're going to have, more color variants because you're not going to have like little bits of stitches, right? Because they get bigger and bigger as you keep going. But it gets pretty easy to memorize this. Candy says that they like the idea of alternating the lace section and straight garter stitch. I actually do too. I'm with you on that. Very much so. All right, so this is a knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. You know what's funny is I just finished filming a series of videos for the sweater that I'm wearing, which is, it's a lace pattern, and it's sort of a version of this, although it's more than just yarn over and knit 2 together. It's actually an SSK and then a double yarn over and a knit 2 together. And then there's more variation of what happens on the back side. So working on this, I keep trying to remind myself, you are not working on this sweater. You're working on something different. So that way I don't get mixed up in my stitch pattern. Yep. Lori, yep. See, Lori, I don't know, Lori, if you're a crocheter also, but I'm wondering if maybe you just were thinking, I don't need that yarn. But now it's like, ooh, the possibilities of what you can do with this yarn as a knitter, it's pretty darn incredible. And it feels good, you guys. It feels good. It feels really good in my hands. It's not stiff. It feels really great for sure. All right, let's see here. All right, Tweedledee says, for the on the go, I prefer DK or worsted. That doesn't have long fingers. Working with lighter weight yarns and smaller size needles gets painful. I can understand that. I can understand that. All right. Awesome. How are we feeling with this so far? Are we feeling good? We feel pretty confident that we know what's going on here. Like it looks, I think it looks pretty awesome. You can see here how the jagged starts to happen. Whether you're on the right side or the wrong side, it still looks really great, right? It still looks really great. I love the lace bit with the garter stitch. Can you see that? I love it. I love that. All right, so I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to talk to you guys just a little bit more. So how many of you are thinking, you know what? I want to tackle the shawl. I want to tackle the shawl. Oh, there's quite a bit of you. Quite a bit of you. How many of you are thinking to yourself, wow, I didn't think about using the granny square yarn for something like this along those lines, right? Like it's guys, it's a striping yarn. It's a pooling type yarn. It pools specifically to make granny squares, but there are so many different ways to make granny squares out there. My friend Sarah from Repeat Craft for Me just tried a different type of granny square with the big flower in the middle, and it worked out beautifully. But as knitters, this is a great way just to mix match what you're doing. Julia, that's a really great question. Julia wants to know how this yarn would work up with a corner to corner format. Now she's got to go find out. I totally get that. Melissa, I want to make the shawl after I clear off some needles. I completely understand that. Or just go buy yourself some new needles. Just go buy yourself some new, treat yourself. Treat yourself, my friends. I love this. Candy says, I wouldn't have thought about using granny for it. There's just, there are no crochet or knitting police, right? You really could do anything you want. Could you crochet over your ends? Yes, you could. Should you? No, but you could, because there's no knitting or crochet police. So you can use any yarn out there you want for knitting or crochet. It doesn't have to be just for granny squares. You can use it for anything you want. Cindy says, now I have to go, gotta finish this shawl. I totally get that. I am finishing up a first cardigan, and I will be starting this shawl later tonight. Bobby, that's awesome. Karen says, I think I will try it after I finish a few whips. You absolutely should, you guys. I have a version of this. It's not a version of the shawl. I have this shawl shape on the needles right now as I'm working on something. And it's a favorite of mine, because you're working yourself up, you get like a good amount of stitches, and you're like, oh, I get to bind off some stitches. And then you're back to like just a fewer stitches, but it's still getting bigger. You know what I mean? You're still getting this lovely asymmetrical look. And A shawl like this is really easy to wear. You're just going to put put the point towards the middle of your chest and just wrap it around your neck. And it looks good with a multitude of outfits for sure. Let's see here. Jackie says, I might make it as a quick reward for finishing the Bellini sweater. That's awesome. The Bellini sweater, you guys, that's a free pattern on my website if you're interested at all. Somebody was asking me, there it is, Donna. Donna says, I love what you're wearing. Thank you so much. This is actually called, look, it's a crop top, you guys. It is so fantastic. It is so fantastic. This is called the Sandra PDA sweater, and it's a sweater I designed in collaboration with Penny Reed, who is an author of the Knitting in the City books. So Sandra is a character in those books, and so this is named after Sandra, and it is so flattering for all body types. This pattern will be available very soon, but thank you for commenting on it, because I love it. I've partnered it up with this like tank top dress I'm wearing, and it just feels really good. I love that. Brianna. Hi, Brianna. That looks incredible on you. Thank you, Brianna. I'll see you next week. Very cool. All right. Oh, Lynn says, I have used it for a bucket hat. Great striping effect. The granny square yarn. It actually works up in a circle for the top of the hat with a little tweaking. Oh, that's a great tip, you guys. That's a great tip. Lisa says, I just downloaded this for my first next on the go once I finish this baby blanket and the lace top. You're not going to be disappointed, you guys. Not going to be disappointed. Pamela says, I got to go get some of that yarn. Got to go get some of that yarn. Let's see here. What else do we need to finish this? I need to finish the steeked cardigan. Then I will start the shawl. Is it the steeked cardigan that we did together? Like, that is so fun. Jackie made the steeked cardigan and she wore it to the retreat that we were on for Mikey was it October? Last October, Jackie wore it there and showed me. She was really great. P.S. I love Jackie. You're going to love this. You're going to love it. I know you are. I know you are. All right, everybody. So that's it for me today, you guys. I hope you've learned something new and put some ideas in your head about what you can bring along with you as you are out on the go, celebrating Worldwide Knit in Public Day or Crochet in Public Day. Totally. Either one works, and just share the love, and be sure, as you have people that are like, oh, I love to do that, but I don't know how to learn, or I don't have the patience, or this, that, and the other, please be sure to direct them over here to Yarnspirations and the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Like, we have a lot of beginner videos, beginner patterns, a lot of beginner skill building projects that you can work on together. So the more that you're out there sharing the love of knitting and crochet and spreading the word about us, that helps us immensely. We totally appreciate it. And we love seeing what you're working on. So do me a favor. As you are working on this shawl, like if you are working on this shawl, no matter what the yarn is, it would be cute in a solid color yarn too, you guys. No matter what the yarn is, take a picture and share with us on social media. I'm the Marley Bird on Instagram. Yarnspirations is Yarnspirations. And if you use hashtag Yarnspo, YARNSPO, that's a big trigger for Yarnspirations to notice your stuff. And if you just, hashtag Marley Bird or hashtag MMMDI, which is Marley Made Me Do It, I will find your stuff, and we will all be sure to smash your like button, because we want to make sure you know how much we appreciate you, and we definitely want to cheer you on as you're making something fun. All right, that's it for me, you guys. Make sure you check out all the patterns over at yarnspirations.com. We have a link in the video description. It's in the comments. It's all over the place, and we will see you again next time. Bye.